This video is for those who want to start a business or are starting a business, who know that they should be better at saying no to opportunities. This video will show you why you should say no to opportunities and how you can do so. And so I'm going to cover what happens if you don't say no to opportunities, what saying no actually and simply means, and give you a simple sentence that you can start using today to say no respectfully, keep your priorities, and not step on anyone's toes. But first of all, I would like to share with you a short story of the things that I've had to say no to since starting this business. When I first started this business, it was originally apparel, clothing, what I'm actually wearing here. And when I first started the business, I made my designs, I started selling them, and I chose an approach for how I was going to market my shirts. And just the fact that I made that decision or that choice meant that there were a bunch of things that I automatically said no to doing. Now that might have been conscious, unconscious, but those were the first signs of saying no to stuff. Down the line, as I got more ideas of what I could do, there were more and more things that I needed to say no to, because otherwise I would be spreading my attention. At some point, I realized that I no longer wanted to be an apparel company, and I switched to doing the startup coaching and just having this completely on the side as merch. But then again, new opportunities kept arising. I chose one direction to go with my business, and since then, in the last 1.5 or 2 years, I've had so many new opportunities come up, other things I could do outside of my business that seemed like great ideas, but also things that, small tweaks here and there that I could make to go in a slightly different direction, but opportunities nonetheless that I've had to say no to stay on track with making this business that I did choose successful. And so I'm saying this and I'm sharing this short story with you to highlight what happens if you don't say no to new opportunities. Whether these are opportunities outside of your existing business or new opportunities, slightly adjacent to what you're already doing, there will be a ton of new opportunities all of the time. Not too long ago, I made a video about shiny object syndrome. And the whole idea of that video was that you need to say no and keep going. And so this video is more so focused on how you actually do it. Because if you don't say no to new opportunities, you will keep falling into the trap of trying to pursue something new. And whenever that happens, all the learning that you've accumulated, all the resources and the time you've spent, going down this one path will be wasted. Of course, you will still have learned things, but if you try and pursue a new vehicle or a new business model, you sacrifice the time and the resources you've spent trying to make that first business model work. And so you can continue and say yes to all sorts of things, keep trying new things, go down different opportunities. But if you do it with the intention that at some point something's probably going to work or something's going to stick, then you will unfortunately find at some point that none of it works because you're not just sticking with one thing. And so that is the exact reason why we need to say no to new opportunities which are outside the scope of what we're already doing. And in a way, you can say that saying no to new opportunities is really just a matter of staying focused. You could use that phrase as well if you want. It's just really operationalizing what focus actually is, and it is saying no to other things or choosing not to do other things. And so that's a really nice natural segue into the whole, what does saying no actually mean? Well, if we think that saying no is the same as being focused, then saying no when someone offers you a new opportunity or someone suggests something new to you, it doesn't have to be about whether or not you don't want to be friends with them, or whether or not you think it's a bad idea, or whether or not you're trying to hurt someone's feelings because there's something you don't want to attend. Really, saying no is being focused, and it means that you are prioritizing doing what you're already working on. And in my eyes, that in no way qualifies you to feel bad for saying no to other things. Actually, you should be rewarded or applauded because you choose just to focus on what you're already committed to. Now, I say this because it's easy when people present things to you to feel obligated to say yes, or to feel like you should participate or you should contribute. But if you do that, you fall into the trap of possibly not focusing on your one thing. And on a long enough time horizon, you really do postpone the results that you want and potentially push them off far enough that you're not going to continue for long enough to get there, and you're going to quit before then. And I don't want this to happen for you. So saying no is really just a matter of prioritizing what you're already committed to and knowing that this can work out and it will work out if you stick with it. But the prerequisite for that is that you don't veer off into all of these other directions before then. And so the sentence I suggest that you start using either with friends, business partners, or employees is, "Thank you for bringing that idea or that opportunity to my attention. Unfortunately, the idea or the opportunity clashes with the focus or the priority that I have committed to my existing work, so I don't have the time or the resources to pursue this new idea, this new opportunity. Once again, I appreciate you wanting to share this with me, but it's not something that I can afford to spend time and resources on right now if I want to succeed with my own thing." And you can do this, of course, in a more polite or less polite way, depending on, who's the one suggesting these things to you. If it's just some random person who you don't know or you don't have a relation to, then you might just say, "Thank you for bringing that to my attention, though that's just not something that I'm interested in." And so, of course, it is going to be your choice how you voice these things, but I just want to highlight that it is entirely possible to say, "Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I really appreciate you thinking of me and thinking that this might be something that I'm interested in. However, I want to make it clear that I have something on my plate right now, which is my number one priority, and I need to stick with it because I know it can work, but it won't work if I don't focus on it. So I really appreciate what you're doing, but right now, this is not the right thing for me. Thank you." Of course, you can say this in a ton of different other ways, and I think for the majority of the time, as long as you're respectful, people will understand where you're coming from. But ultimately, the point I want to get across is, if you don't say no, if you don't focus on your current commitment, then you're much more likely to spread your attention and your energy much more thinly when you're dividing it up among all these different opportunities. And that's going to postpone the results you want. And the further those results get postponed into the future, the higher the risk that you're going to be demotivated, or you're not going to continue working or being consistent for long enough to actually get the results. And so I don't want that for you. I want you to get there, and I want you to get there in a consistent and quick manner. So say no, be focused, prioritize yourself, your life, the things you want for your future. You really only do have this one life. And the other people are really just outside of you. In the end, you're the one responsible for how you live your life and the regrets you're gonna have at the end. And so if you found this video useful, valuable, helpful in any way, please comment down below your current biggest business problem. I would love to hear what you're dealing with. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Sunday. Stay disciplined.